Hello everyone, xForts here, and welcome to a video talking about Jolyne Kujo and her stand, Stone Free, who are what I believe to be perfect examples of one of the best aspects of the series, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Its symbolism and expression of ideas through its characters, stands, and namesakes. Especially from the series' main protagonists, otherwise known as JoJos, who are used to symbolize the overall tone and thematics of their respective parts, as well as what their character represents. So when it comes to Jolyne, the most apparent aspect of her character is that she is a female, which immediately differentiates herself from every other JoJo. But it's not her gender that defines her as a character, although it is still an important aspect of her. Looking at Jolyne in Stone Ocean today, a female JoJo and mostly female cast could seem irrelevant, as the part follows the same formula as previous parts. The main JoJo kicks serious ass, gathers a group of misfit allies, and fights other stand users, slowly working their way to the big bad guy. But back when Stone Ocean first started in the year 2000, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure having a female protagonist was a different story. Back in the day, we're talking about a series notoriously known for big muscular men beating the shit out of other big muscular men while being manly. But suddenly, the series began to change around the mid-90s with its fifth part, Golden Wind, where character designs and proportions got a whole less manly and a whole lot more feminine. We're talking androgyny and fashion cranked up to 11, and before you know it, the series is full-on womanly. So although character designs dramatically changed, the series remained the same at its core. Regardless of how characters looked, they were all still badass with interesting and unique stands, and telling stories just as good, if not better, than before. But people are always reluctant to change, especially when the series was expressing more LGBT values, like having multiple gay couples in the same part, and making male characters more feminine with androgynous features. And remember, this was 20 years ago, before LGBT was more widely accepted and understood. And JoJo's Bizarre Adventure was a manga in Shonen Jump, a magazine targeted towards young males ages 10 to 18. So I could only imagine some amount of JoJo fans at the time were unsettled with the series changes, and even more so when the series protagonist changed to a female character. But this is where we get onto Jolyne and some of the subtleties her character represents, which is pretty much just Araki's message to his haters. Jolyne's story revolves around redemption and rising up against the odds. She's trapped in her destiny, being bound to the Joestar bloodline, resulting in her being falsely imprisoned and facing a 15-year sentence. But not because of who she is or what she's done, but because of who her father is. If anyone doesn't remember Stone Ocean that well, pretty much the bad guy Enrico Pucci has a mission, but before he can start his mission, he first needs to make sure Jotaro is defeated so he doesn't interfere. Because Jotaro is rumored to have the strongest stand ability in the world, Time Stop. So Pucci uses Jotaro's daughter Jolyne to get to him by framing Jolyne for vehicular manslaughter and sending her to jail in the hopes that Jotaro will come visit her in prison. So TLDR, Jolyne gets screwed over by fate. But in prison is where Jolyne obtains her stand Stone Free, which is what a majority of this video will be focused on because it's where a lot of Jolyne's symbolism lies. Stone Free is in reference to the Jimi Hendrix song of the same name off his first studio album, Are You Experienced? The song Stone Free is about living the way you want to live and not let others bring you down, with lyrics like, "You can't hold me down, I don't want to be down, I gotta move on, stone free to do as I please, stone free to ride the breeze."
You can't hold me down. I don't wanna be down.
And I just love this musical reference because it's the perfect song to express the feelings of Araki and the character Jolyne. Like we talked about earlier about how some fans of JoJo were unpleased with the series changes, Stone Free was Araki's message to everyone that he is going to do what he wants and that no one can hold him down. Araki needed to be stone free and write the manga he wanted to, like taking influences from the things he loves like fashion that would dramatically impact the series' characters. There's even a lyric in the song Stone Free that goes, "They talk about the clothes I wear, but they don't realize they're the ones who square."
Talk about the clothes I wear, but they don't realize they're the ones who swear.
And that is just a perfect lyric, and Stone Free was a perfect musical reference for the time and the character Jolyne to give a subtle diss to anyone who was giving Araki backlash for creating the manga he wanted to make. So besides Stone Free being used as a message by Araki to relay his feelings to his readers, he also used the song and its creator Jimi Hendrix as major influences when creating Jolyne. Like Araki, Jolyne also uses Stone Free as a symbol of freedom, as she uses her stand to escape from prison and the things tying her down in life. The lyrics of Stone Free are pretty straightforward on how they inspire her cause. Stone free baby, I can't stay, I gotta get away, and even more obviously, a woman here, a woman there, try to keep me in a plastic cage, but they don't realize it's so easy to break. So it's always interesting seeing the way music influences JoJo's characters and story, but Jolyne and Stone Free are a fairly simple connection, being used as a message by Araki and Jolyne to express their desire to live stone free. But things get pretty mind blown when you look at how the creator of the song Stone Free, Jimi Hendrix, influenced the character Jolyne. Jimi Hendrix was a rising black musician in America during the time of racial segregation and commonly accepted racism. Although Hendrix found his way to fame through raw passion and talent, it seemed he had nearly everyone trying to bring him down. Whether it was his manager scamming him out of hundreds of thousands of dollars, or just the general public discrediting his musical finesse due to the color of his skin. But no matter how many people tried to bring Hendrix down, he became a star. So how does a black musician in the 1960s relate to Jolyne? Well, much like Hendrix, Jolyne was a black sheep of her time, being a female protagonist within Shonen Jump, not only a magazine for young men, but the protagonist of a changing series famously known for its strong male leads. Hendrix was also famously known for being a left-handed guitarist who played a right-handed guitar flipped upside down and restrung. So he's playing a familiar instrument, just differently. And much like Jolyne, she's extremely reminiscent of the other JoJos in the series through her attitude and demeanor. She's where she belongs because she's part of the Joestar bloodline, but she's just a little different because she's a female. So both Jolyne and Jimi Hendrix were where they belonged but weren't initially accepted because of their differences in appearance and behavior. But regardless of their differences, they were still incredible at what they did. Jimi Hendrix has gone on to become one of the most influential and renowned musicians of our time, and Jolyne was a great JoJo and exactly the character Araki needed her to be. So besides the more abstract connections and similarities between Hendrix and Jolyne, there are even some literary similarities, like how when Hendrix was in his teens, he was arrested for driving a stolen car, and one of Jolyne's charges at trial was Grand Theft Auto, making all of their connections much more than just a coincidence, and nearly undeniably intentional by Hirohiko Araki, especially when keeping in mind how much thought Araki puts into his main protagonists. So Jimi Hendrix and Jolyne Kujo, two entirely different entities, but still in many ways one and the same. Two rising stars in a changing world breaking free from their predetermined fates, and Hendrix and Araki, two individuals finding success through living stone free. So that is Jolyne and Stone Free, their symbolism and the themes they represent both in and outside of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Rebellion, defiance, living free, and most importantly, not letting others bring you down for being yourself. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I really hope you enjoyed it, and I appreciate you guys taking the time out of your day to watch something I created. This one was for the very small but also very vocal community that's been in my comment sections for over a year now, asking me to talk about Jolyne. Although I did talk about her like 2 years ago in the JoJomas video, but those aren't that in-depth or analytical. But now we have time for some post-production thoughts. I always like to do these to elaborate on some of the ideas I expressed in the video I just made, and also reflect on it after I go through about 30 hours of recording my script and editing the video. Sometimes I just want to, add on to some things I talked about. So it was only recently that I realized the glaring similarities between Jolyne, Jimi Hendrix, Stone Free's message, and Araki's potential feelings during the time of writing Stone Ocean. But like most things in JoJo, the deeper you look into them, the more and more you find. It's been years since I first read Stone Ocean, although I have revisited the part a few times to look more into specific arcs and characters I was interested in at the time or that I just forgot about. But when it came to Jolyne, I thought I knew pretty much everything about her. I didn't realize I would discover something just hiding in plain sight. But I guess this just attributes more to Araki being a manga genius, which I guess you need to be if you want your series to be as successful and well-renowned as JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. I also hope this video didn't give anyone the impression that the Japanese audience or just all the readers at JoJo were giving Araki massive backlash at the time of the series' evolution and the changes in parts 5 and 6. The Japanese audience actually responded very well to part 5, although sales did drop during part 6. This could be attributed to the female protagonist, to more influences of fashion, but I'm not a statistics or demographic analyst, so I really don't know exactly what led to the decline of sales during Stone Ocean, but these were just some of my opinions on what I think it was. Especially fashion. Shonen Jump is a magazine again targeted towards young males, and Araki was taking more and more influences from fashion. A lot of characters in Stone Ocean were named after fashion designers and just things in the fashion world, so I couldn't see a lot of Shonen Jump's readers relating to that. How many of you guys that are males were interested in fashion when you were a teenager? I know when I was 14, 15, 16, I had little to no interest in fashion at all. So that along with a female protagonist could potentially be reasons to the decline of interest in the series around its 6th part. So although the series had a temporary decline in the early 2000s, I don't think Araki would have had it any other way, because since then, the series has gained new fans and new readers that are more like-minded with Araki and share the same values as him. We don't care what a character looks like, what their sexuality is, we just love his art and his writing, and that's why we love the series. And I think that's pretty much everything I have to say today, guys. Thank you so much for watching this video again. I infinitely appreciate it. Like if you enjoyed, and subscribe if you're new and you would like to see more videos like this. So with that said, have a good day, guys, and I'm out. Peace.